Hello, fellow travelers. So, as I told y'all last week, we were going to talk about our dogs this week for this video.
And I don't know if you can see, Libby is down here.
Yeah.
Liberty. Her name is Liberty Bella Mota, and I call her Libby. I call her Pretty Girl. I call her Princess.
And then there's Lincoln, who would normally be. No, I'm not even going to say that. He's in the bedroom.
He lives in the bed. He loves it. It's like a cave in there.
He gets over in the corner, and that's his spot. He didn't want to come out. Now,
what's Lincoln's full name?
Lincoln's full name, because he's a registered. He's a what's it called? AKC.
Yeah.
Yeah, AKC registered is Beowulf.
Beowulf
Lincoln Vampire. And that's because Vampire is the bloodline, because he's a Czechoslovakian German Shepherd. So his bloodline's over there, and that was his grandfather's name or his grandsire's name, I guess.
And Beowulf was like one of his dad's name?
No, not his dad, but his
somebody.
It was It was on his mom's side.
And we named him Lincoln.
Yeah, so Beowulf Lincoln Vampire.
And his name really is Lincoln Link Snooter.
Mr. Snouts, right? Because he puts that
monster.
long snout and everything.
Yeah.
But we would have him out here, and I could try to call him 1,000,000 times. And the reason he's in there and wouldn't listen right now is it stormed for like 10 minutes. We're in Florida, and it rains so hard, obviously, when you're in an RV, that he goes, finds his little safe spot, his little cubby hole. And until he feels like he's good to go, he will not come out.
Yeah, he's almost 8. He'll be 8 at the end of October.
Yep.
Liberty will be 5 October 1st. So they're getting up there in age, specifically Lincoln. So he's kind of stuck in his ways. It is who he is, and we just let him do his thing. So
one of the things we wanted to kind of talk to y'all about in this video is, one, just kind of going over how we manage 2 big dogs on the road. I know a lot of folks that are either thinking about going full-time RVing or are currently already full-time RVing, have animals. So you're kind of like, man, is it possible? Can we do it?
We thought the same thing.
Yeah, we were so worried that it was going to add more stress to them, or if it was going to even be doable.
Yeah.
And considering that we started with a much smaller rig,
a 22-foot travel trailer with no slide.
You know, what we did then was we had to introduce them to it and let them know that they had their own space. And so I would truly say, starting off, if you got big dogs, is trying to make sure that they understand they've got their own spot. Now for us, we had the 2 back bunks at that time in that particular rig, and we set it up, we set it up to where those bottom bunks were their bed.
Yeah.
So they would come in. When I first introduced them to it, they came in and I had their blanket and a little sheet over it, and I tapped on it, and they were in up there. And once they realized that was their spot, every time we would come in and out, they knew exactly. They would jump up there, they lay down. Anytime they wanted to kind of be their little comfort spot, that's where they were at.
Yeah. And honestly, our dogs and German Shepherds, I think in general, are extremely clingy. You know, they imprint on their person, and then they don't really care where they're at, where they're going, what we're doing, as long as they're with you.
Yep.
And that's why Libby, I can't even get up and make a drink or get something from the fridge or go to the bathroom.
Yeah.
I mean, she will literally get up and follow me just, 5 feet until I come and sit back down. So.
And just like the bedroom and is Lincoln's little cubby hole, when it rains and stuff, right here is hers. Off to the side here, we have their beds, which are usually sitting right here.
Mm-hmm.
Which I don't know if you can see them or not, but they're usually laying right on those, right at our feet, or somewhere thereabouts. So with that said, with big dogs, with having animals, just like with yourself as adults, a human being, you got to be able to manage health care and for the dogs, and for where you're going to get their food, because we try to keep them consistent on the same food. So then when you're traveling all these different places, where are you going to find it? So medical, food, medicines that they have.
So let's kind of touch on that a little bit more, as far as like their food and where we get it. So our dogs have been on Blue Buffalo for, I don't know how long time. And fortunately for us, Blue Buffalo is a brand that we can find at pretty much any Tractor Supply. Some pet stores carry it. Some Walmarts carry it,
Right.
but not all of them. But we haven't had any problems finding it. If we can find a Tractor Supply, it's usually
And normally,
works best.
normally when you're in a city that's, where we're staying at, for the most part, we've not had any issues. Tractor Supply has
Mhm.
been the go-to for sure. But
Yeah.
we did have one spot in is a Walmart in South Carolina that one Walmart didn't have it and another Walmart did have it. It was really
It
weird.
was weird.
But at our Sticks and Bricks, or when we're back in Kentucky, Kroger. Kroger's
Yeah.
the one that has it, and that's that. So
Yeah. So, but I will say that, there's other options out there like Chewy's. We've ordered from Chewy's before. You can switch up your address for whenever you order it and have it sent to the campground, or so there's options out there.
Yep.
The other thing that I think we should touch on is their medical issues and
yeah. So
maintaining.
with Lincoln, he has, bigger dogs are more susceptible to bad hips, as they get older, going into hip dysplasia, things of that nature. He doesn't necessarily have that yet, but he does have some early on type of like arthritis type issues with his hips. One hip being more sore sometimes than another. So months ago, we met with our vet when we were back in Kentucky and kind of talked through a treatment plan of what that would look like. And there's a medication as far as a shot that he gets every month when we're back there. We could go to any vet on the road and have that same shot done for him. But what we found was
Hip chews, hip and joint chews.
yeah, they're hip and joint chews, and they seem to work just as well. His mobility is just as good as when he was taking the shot. And those we buy in about
it's like
3 month,
120
Yeah.
chews in it, I think.
yeah, something like that, like a 3 month supply.
Yeah.
He takes what, 5 of those?
5 a day.
Yeah, 5 a day.
They're
And-
like little chewy squares.
Yeah, and that seems to work. If I saw him getting any worse, then I would probably
Go
start
back
to
to
go
the
back to the
shots.
vet and getting back in the shots, because those have to be every 30 days. And the thing with those is we'd have to coordinate with the local vet with everywhere we're at, to get in touch with our vet back in Kentucky to then make sure it's okay to get the shot and kind of do that route,
Yeah.
which is fine. Totally willing to do that. But on a whim, we tried, let's try these hip and joint chews one time, and the results were good. So we're kind of sticking with
Yeah.
that for right now.
Yeah, and also along with that, the hip chews that we are currently using, we've been using them for about 3 months now because we went through other bags and then we just got the bigger bag. So
yeah,
I'm pretty
something like
sure.
that.
Yeah. I've put them in our link tree, so we'll
Yep.
drop the link tree.
In the bio.
Yeah, I was gonna say I don't want to say link tree link,
Yeah.
but the link to it
Will be in the bio.
will be in the bio.
Yeah.
But if you want to check those out, if you have larger dogs or dogs with joint issues and stuff,
Go ahead.
go ahead.
Oh no, I was gonna say, now, talking about Liberty as far as medical issues, I think I've kind of made reference to it before. Is she had, I should say, fracture in her leg about a year ago.
Yeah.
Literally a year ago from just in July. Her and Lincoln kind of got into a little spat in the backyard over a toy, and it kind of escalated real quick before I could split them up, which was a horrible idea. Never get in the middle between two big dogs because that's a bad idea.
Yeah.
But
It was a sibling thing.
being that they was like my kids fighting, I had to try to break them up. Before I could
Anyway.
even get to them, she broke. His weight got on her, snapped her right where her paw is, down where it meets, snapped her leg right there, and she had a pretty significant fracture.
Yeah.
The
So the
treatment. Go ahead.
Yeah, I was gonna say that we saw a surgeon.
Yep.
We have a great vet. They've been going to the same vet since we've had them.
Yep.
So we have a great vet, and they sent us to a surgeon to have it looked at to see if there was anything that we could do surgically. There is, but it's only got a 50% success rate, and in doing that, they would have had to have taken muscle and tissue from her shoulder to redo this, and she would have been immobile, like no movement, for like 6 months. And so we would have to carry her out to go to the bathroom and you guys, she's like 80 pounds.
Well, and with the German Shepherd and as active as they are, that would completely change her way of life.
Yeah,
Um,
and a 50% success rate
wasn't worth putting her through all that trauma.
yeah.
Yeah.
So
And
they
that
gave
was,
us.
yeah, that was still going to just be fusing the bone together.
Mhm.
So her mobility would have been less.
She would have probably still been on pain medication
Yep.
or some type of arthritic medication for the rest of her life. So, um, the other options that they gave us were amputation, which we're
Not
not
going to
doing
do
that,
that. No.
um, and splinting it, which we did try.
We
We
did
did
that
splint it
for a couple
for
months.
yeah,
And it got to the point where she would literally chew the splint off, and
yeah,
it would
and it
rub.
rubbed raw.
It would rub on her because it's kind of like a knot on her joint, and that
Mhm.
right where the actual swelling is, it would rub on that brace, and it would put a blister on there. So it just became where,
Yeah.
okay, it needs to be able to be free, and the only other option was pain medicine.
Yeah.
So she takes pain pills every day.
Yep.
Which,
and it's an anti-inflammatory as
right,
well.
yeah, it helps.
So it's
take
not just
swelling down.
like,
Yeah.
hey, we're just gonna drug you up, but
Yeah, no.
yeah, it's an anti-inflammatory and pain pill that she takes daily.
Now, what we've done with that, though, because she does have a limp, and to kind of help reduce swelling and additional pain on her other joints, shoulders, every other legs, since they're going to kind of be making up some of that, we started her on those hip and joint chews as well, just over the last month. And I can't really tell the results right now because she's always going to have this limp, but she's not in any more pain. And if it's something we can do as a precaution, that's totally worth it for sure. So
yeah, but as far as getting their medications filled, because on top of her pain anti-inflammatory medicine, they also have been prescribed trazodone for their anxiety, specifically storm anxiety, and sometimes travel.
Yeah,
we haven't had to really. They've been doing really well with the type of travel that we're doing right now. We're kind of keeping it at like 3.5 hours of travel on those days.
about in a straight shot,
Yeah. Whereas, when we go out west or if we're traveling a little bit longer, we do, up to 6-7 hours, and then they'll need their trazodone.
And that's mainly because, German Shepherds have a lot of energy, and having them in the back of the truck, which I'll get to showing you all what we've got for them in the truck, and trying to contain that energy is something all on its own. So, on a travel day, if it's going to be longer than about 3.5 hours, they get a trazodone, just enough to relax them. Now, one of the things we did too that we tried a couple of times is we got them these calming chews. So that way, sometimes when we know a storm's coming, we'll give them a calming chew instead of giving them a trazodone, because the trazodone kind of puts them in that knocked out state. And we don't like having them completely loopy like that any more than they probably want to feel like that.
So we've been trying a lot of alternatives to just like regular medication.
Yep.
And it seems to really be helping because these are like all natural and
we can put
helpful.
put that in our.
Yeah, I'll have to pull the calming chews up and put them in there, but I know the hip and joint chews are already in our link tree. Yep. But for their medications like the trazodone and the pain medicine, we get that from our veterinarian back in Kentucky, and she's really great about when we're there, giving us enough supply to get us through like 3 months.
Yep.
If we happen to not get back to Kentucky within 3 months, which sometimes we don't, we can have it called into a local pharmacy, and usually they will have
we can pick it up there,
the medicine there. So.
Yeah, our vet in Kentucky has been amazing. She's always been about trying to help us do the best for them while we're on the road, and including their other medicine that they take that's a I guess what you call a not routine, but
the flea and tick
medicine. And we use
NexGard,
the
chews, chewables,
and those are about a 3-month thing at a time. Actually, it's a 6-month pack, but they're both in the same weight range, so we use 3 of them. So it lasts us 3 months. It's about $120, but those are totally worth it. They work. Never had an issue. Cause no issues on their coat. No issues
Dogs
at
aren't
all.
cheap, y'all. They're like
no.
we were like, oh, empty nesting, woohoo! And now we've got 2 big fur babies. We've got 6 grandkids, number 7 on the way.
Yep.
we're Papa Gigi poor.
Yeah, Papa Gigi for sure.
Mommy, fur mommy and daddy poor.
Yeah,
All
but
right.
totally worth it.
Yeah, so that's how we handle medications as far as prescription and over the counter medications. Like I said, Amazon usually has pretty much anything, and you can have it sent to your campground.
One of the things I wanted to kind of say too is that if you watched our previous video, or one of our early videos when we get our sit down about why we travel and the things that we do, it's a lot of the same things for our dogs. You know, finding a local vet if something happens when we get into an area, finding a spot where we know we can get their dog food, making sure we've got plenty of their supply for their medication. So you kind of handle your pets a lot of the times the same way you do your own stuff as far as your regular routine maintenance, I guess you could say.
Yeah, and that's really, it's funny because anytime we're driving into a new area, it's we almost always will go, there's the vet or there's a vet, you know, so we know about where it is in distance
And also
to
an
where
emergency
we are.
vet, because you never know.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
Yep. Food storage. We talked about purchasing and where we get it. For food storage, when you're in a small space, we understand that it can be difficult. Now, if you have a little dog, you probably got like the little bags and you can buy those in a smaller bulk, you know. We've got ginormous dogs. I mean, Lincoln is like 115 pounds. She's like 80, 85 pounds.
Yep.
So when we buy, we have to buy, what is that?
We get a 34-pound bag
Yeah.
that goes into a 35-pound container that sits in between our two desks.
Mm-hmm.
And it works perfect. And, you know, it keeps, it's out of the way. It holds all their food. And that amount of
There's
food.
no hiding it, though,
No,
you know
there's
what
not.
I mean?
There's no, you know, you're not taking that and sticking it under a cabinet or putting it in the
way
pantry.
too heavy
It's too heavy
and-
on cabinets. Yet you're not doing that.
So you just gotta, you know, learn that you're just gonna have it sitting
Just
out.
going to have it there.
And then we also get canned food, wet Blue Buffalo. We've got some cans that are for senior and some that are regular, but and then we separate that up.
Yeah, we
mix
use
it in.
like a spoonful or so just on each time they eat, just to kind of give them that gravy kind of feel.
Yeah, we'll put a little bit of warm water in there and mix it up. You know, we've seen a commercial before, and I don't even remember what dog food it was for, but it said no living thing should ever have to eat
processed dog food,
processed food
its whole
every day
life.
for
Yeah.
its whole life, and that kind of was like, that really sucks. So we try to make it yummy. And
I would say this though, if we had smaller dogs and could afford it, at that, you know, with a smaller dog, I would probably do something of a more mail order, all fresh ingredients, all that kind of stuff. But these two monsters, they eat so much. I mean, you're talking each one of them get 2 cups per meal, so 4 cups a day each. That's a lot of food.
And then it's not just that, but like when we buy rotisserie chickens and, you know, when we are making anything meat related, a lot of times
they get a lot on toppers and extra. We try not to give them a ton of, like, just if we're having a burger, they don't get a whole lot of that. But if we're fixing a sandwich and have lunch meat, they'll get some lunch meat and some cheese, because a lot of times that's how we put their medicine to get them to take it.
Yeah.
So
their beds.
Yes. So having 2 big dogs, there's no real easy way to manage 2 massive beds. Now, as you can see right now, she's laying here on the floor, which normally she's on her bed. I just scooted the beds up a little bit so I wouldn't be standing on them. And
Maybe
then
we should pause this and show them the beds, and I'll show them
I'll
all
do that.
the
No,
dogs.
pause. We're real time here, folks.
Oh no!
So here's Liberty laying there. Here's their dog beds. Now these dog beds are 28 by 42, I believe. These are essentially as big as the bottom of a really, really big kennel. And as you can see, this whole floor space right in this area is completely...
Floor space?
Right.
What
It would be
floor
filled
space?
up. We have a very open area, so you can see kind of backing up here. I mean, we've got plenty of room. You know, we're not lacking for room at all. And just to show you real quick, there's their dog food container right there. But when you come in, you know, we've got the dogs' beds right there, and we have our recliners, we have our couch. Stacy doesn't like the fact that she She always likes to be sitting on the couch, so she's always having to step over those. So I hear that more than anything, I'm sure. But so that's the dog beds.
Wah,
Really
wah.
big dogs require big space to lay it. Now, after that, Stacey's going to show you what we use for their collars.
So we store this cabinet down here. Oh, baby girl. She thinks, see, I've got her collar out now. She thinks she's going out. This cabinet down here is where we store all of the dog collars, leashes, their toys, or TOYSs, as we say. Their poo bags. And for you travelers, Amazon poo bags.
We have a box underneath there. We buy
Wowza.
them in 60 to 100 rolls for like $15, if that.
Yeah.
So it's totally
And
worth
it's so worth it. And
They last
They
months.
last. They're sturdy. So we got big dogs, German Shepherds, and our dogs don't particularly care for other dogs. Not that they would do anything, but we don't want to give them the opportunity. So when we take them out, they do wear their prong collars. And then, we hook their leash to them. They're used to them. Doesn't hurt them, guys. It only pokes them if they're pulling. And that's what keeps them in line. They know to stop pulling. But I know a lot of people are very, controversial. Prong collars. We've got big dogs.
They don't stay on them. They only go out. They're only on them when they go out to go to the bathroom.
Yep.
Now, as a regular deterrent for correctional behavior, one of the things we do, as you can see, she's got a blue collar on right now.
Sit.
Well, there he is, real quick. There's Lincoln.
Hi, big boy.
All right. He's coming out like, hey, what's going on? Let me sniff the camera, Dad. What's happening?
So they've got on vibration collars.
Back.
I think I could count on the number of times on my hand where we have to actually buzz them. It's usually we hit the beep. It goes beep, and they're like, crap. They know I'm doing something wrong.
Yep.
I'll stop.
Again, that's a deterrent simply because we have had between the two of them, as any siblings do, we'll get into super hyped up energy mode. Next thing you know, we got a couple times they've gotten to fight, kind of like when she hurt her leg. So that's happened in all the years we've had them. That's happened 3 times.
It looks
at the
scarier than it is.
Right.
We've talked to our veterinarian about it because the first time it happened, we were like, we're going to have to get rid of our dogs. We're going to have to put them down. What's going on? They're fighting each other. But our vet assured us that that's normal pack dog behavior, especially when you have an older male and a younger female.
Now, the other part of that too is, we have to change the behaviors and make sure that we are consistent with how. Yeah. That's the big thing.
That's since last year, we've done things a lot differently than what we used to. It truly is more about training yourselves than training your dogs.
Absolutely.
They are amazing animals and they are smart. So smart. But, you have to know how to handle them. So.
He's so silly.
All right. So as far as leashes go, we use the retractable leash. I know that's controversial as well, but this is what we have used for years. We've never had a problem.
Thing is getting a good quality one. These are a Power Walker brand. They have an actual, I can't remember exactly what it's called. As far as the amount of stress that the actual cord can take, but it's like 800 pounds. Liberty.
Yeah.
Plus.
So, and these are the large size because our dogs are big.
Plus.
And of course, Pretty Girl has her own pink one.
She knows.
Lincoln has a black one.
So just like some of that jumping that she was just doing, those are the type of things that we have to keep her in check for because she gets so excited, and that's what will cause her foot, as you can see right there. It's your right, her left, that knot that's on her paw right there. Yeah. That's what actually is the issue with her leg. Yeah.
They're good babies. They don't take a lot of correction. They're older now. They know what's right and wrong. And
there he goes.
So
You said my name? Okay, so with that said, we've kind of gone over medicine. We've gone over their what we use for them going out.
yeah.
Side. These are their bows. I know I've gone over those before, so I won't get into a ton of that. But those are those spill proof, so we don't have any issues with big old messes or anything like that.
So I think we really need to talk about campground etiquette with dogs.
Yep.
Specifically, when you're taking your dogs out, what we like to do is we get them already inside. We get their leashes on them, and then we make them sit and wait while we walk down the stairs. We never let our dogs go out before us.
Nope.
We didn't do it at home. We don't do it here. I know that, there's rules in place about keeping your dog's leash and all that stuff, but we have been probably at almost every campground we've gone to, there's been a rogue dog that gets away from its owner.
Whether on accident or they just let them out.
Yeah. Or there are neighborhood cats that just run. But it could be anything: possums, squirrels, gophers, it doesn't matter what it is. Or somebody walking through your campsite. I don't know about your dogs, but our dogs are very protective of our home. They're very protective of us, especially me. They're not going to take kindly if we're walking out a door and somebody's right there.
Yeah, so just for an example, this site right here, as I pan over, we've had people walk through your actual campsite. And if you have any campground etiquette at all, you're not supposed to do that. Yeah. That's ultimate no-no.
That's a
But if I had this door cracked open and just the screen there, my dogs would go straight through it to go through whoever came through their yard, especially if they were walking a dog. That's just a fact.
Yeah.
And that's on that person. That's not on our dogs at that point.
So, we're very upfront with people when we're walking our dogs. When we have them at the dog park, and we have them off leash and another person comes with their dog, we'll say, hey, our dogs really don't like other dogs. Give us a second. We'll leash them and leave, and you all can have the dog park. We know that our dogs don't play well with others. So we'll be the ones to be like, hey, let us get them together. We'll leave. You all can have the park. But it goes also when you're approaching a dog park and you see other dogs inside playing, it's always smart to say, hey, does your dog play well with others? And if they say yes, walk in, but keep your dog on a leash, please,
you
because
just never know.
You never know. It could be a smell. It could be the way another dog carries themselves.
It could be simply that you're at a new place and your dog's already kind of on edge because they're trying to figure things out.
So it's better if you have control of your dog until you can see that other dog is going to play well with yours. So
with that said, let's go ahead. We're going to go ahead and leash them up here and put their collars on, and we're going to walk them outside, and we'll take y'all out for a little potty break with us. Hang tight. Wait. Hang on, Bubba. Wait. All right, come. Super excited.
Big girl.
And one of the things we do is I manage their e-collars with this remote. So that always stays with me. And I am going to untangle him real quick and take this. All right.
Come on,
so you're on a potty break with this. Which is fine.
Campy girl. Campy girl.
The other thing, all right, full disclosure that we do is we normally take them out one at a time. So you're going to see their energy level be a little bit different right now. See? And the reason for that is simply because of what she's doing right now. Kind of like what we already mentioned.
No, come.
Come. We try to keep her energy level down, but you can see how just this little bit of extra movement has got her limping a little bit more. So we have to reel her in. That and the fact that I handle both the dogs better. It just is because I'm stronger. So they have a tendency, if they pull, they can pull Stacy along pretty good.
And so they're super protective of me. Matt can bring them out and they won't bark at anybody. Yep. I bring them out and a squirrel comes by and they bark.
Yep, facts. So we're going to walk them over here. Okay, cross. So we'll go over here to a little empty campsite. Let them have a little bit of extra on that note, we are at Sunshine Holiday in Daytona.
Yep.
Um, been a great campground. Oh, hand on his business. That's our actual campsite right there. It's not super packed at all. Guess we're in the off season. Okay, we got double dookie going on. Give us a second. We're gonna clean that up. Okay, they've handled their business, and we've picked up their business. And that's gonna transition us into our very next segment here, which is
We have dogs that poop cow pies,
absolute cow pies, and that is no exaggeration.
and we clean it up. So why must we find little dog poop everywhere?
There's absolutely no reason. I mean, zero. I don't care what it is. If you're happen to forget a bag and you're taking your dog out and your dog poops, you go get a bag and come back and pick it up. Don't forget, do it, pick it up. The reason we say that is one of the big things with having dogs in the RV life, all right, is keeping them healthy. And all dogs carry different types of bugs, and I don't mean literally bugs, but I mean codes, things of that nature. So just like as you're taking your dog to a dog park on the road, you gotta be very careful with that kind of stuff, because what do dogs do? They eat other dogs' doo-doo. All right. So with that, if we're out someplace and they happen to actually get a sniff of another dog's junk and crap on the ground, their first instinct is going to be to lick it or try to eat it or anything else.
They could
Can't
get
have
sick very easily. Come on, pretty.
They get super sick. So you don't want any of that to happen. So yes, clean up after your dogs. If you're at a dog park, at a campground, clean up after them. If you're walking them around like we just simply
Good job, Mama.
clean up after them.
Hang on, Bubba.
This is them going in.
I'll get a bag. Maybe in just a little bitty corner. She's all balled up over there because Big Butt spread all the way. He's taking up the whole back seat. What's wrong, baby girl? Don't got no place to lay down. Tell your brother to move, Big Butt.
We transition over to how the dogs travel. Now, what we've got here is a rough liner seat and I guess seat protection and floor protection. What we did, so this particular one we have has these straps that Velcro to the door. It protects the door so that they can't scratch all the way around. Protects the back seats, the back of our front seats, both doors, and goes down just like a hammock. Now, what we did to make it more comfortable, we took their old beds and put them underneath. So they basically got a huge hammock or cushioned hammock back here that they lay in when we travel. I keep this up all the time unless we're going to be back in Kentucky for an extended period of time. And at that point, what I do is I take it all down, clean it all out.
So the grandbabies
So the
can get back
grandbabies,
there.
yeah. So we get the grandkids in the car or in the truck and everything because they like to ride in the truck.
Either there or in Texas.
Yeah, either there or in Texas. Now, one of the things though, having German Shepherds is they shed like crazy. So whenever I could just be going an hour down the road, and this thing will be filled with hair. Have to vacuum it out. These are washable. Of course, we get the dogs' beds that have the bedding on them that you can just take off, unzip it, and throw it in the wash. You got to keep that stuff clean because that's just as important as anything else when you're trying to make sure your dogs are happy and healthy and safe.
Yeah. So I think we pretty much covered everything about traveling with dogs. If there's anything that you want to know or that we didn't cover, or any questions about what we use,
or anything that you do different than we do, we're open to taking all kinds of suggestions. By no means are we showing you any of this that we're some type of pros, because we are not.
No.
By no means.
No.
But we just wanted to do a little bit more intro with the dogs, show you how we manage two big dogs,
giant dogs,
and what it's like for us just on a regular day-to-day, but most importantly how their comfort level is, and making sure that their quality of life is not lacking simply because we're living full-time in an RV.
Yeah. So don't be afraid to travel with your dogs. trust me, they're going to enjoy it just as much as we do. And we'll probably throw some pictures in of some of the places we've been and
Things they've got to see.
things they've got to see.
I do want to add one thing, and you all that travel with your dogs may experience this, but it's always interesting to me when we get to a new spot and the dogs go outside for the first time, like after our first night, and the next day go out and go potty. They take a pause, and you literally can see them processing. Okay, where we're at. This is someplace different. You know, they're kind of doing the whole
Yeah.
scanning the area. That to me is one of those things that's great because that's them taking in their environment.
One thing
It's
we
great.
didn't discuss that I want to bring up really quickly before we cut this one is the leads. They have tie outs that we do
Yeah.
use at some campsites, depending on where we're at. And typically, we'll just wrap it to the picnic table. That seems to be, I don't know, it just gives us a little more.
It gives them a sense of freedom.
Well, I
at
think
our site.
versus using the stake one,
Yeah,
I think that
yeah.
you don't like the idea.
I don't
of
like that
using
because one, both of them could rip it out of the ground easy. They're not gonna. Only one time did we ever have them on a picnic table, kind of tethered, and they drug it about 5 feet.
But that was both of them using their full strength of power to try to get a squirrel. So
Well, also remember that was because somebody walked their dog by and they didn't have the dog. That was in Wisconsin.
it wasn't
They
on a
didn't-
leash.
It wasn't on a leash, and they were walking right by, and it came right up on our campsite. So again, leash your dogs if you're walking them out.
Yes.
Period.
But they do enjoy it. But honestly, they would much rather be inside.
They really would.
You know, if we're just sitting there and we're not going anywhere or doing anything fun, they would rather be inside. They'll want to come in.
Yeah. And when we are out and we're sitting out in our chairs or whatever, we have, and I didn't show them, but I'll show some pictures here of them on them. We've got 2 outdoor hammocks that are pet hammocks. That essentially, it's like their bed, but it sits about 6 inches off the ground. So it gives them plenty of actual joint support and things like that. That way they're able to be outside and sitting right there with us. So I'll put some pictures of that in here. Yeah. So other than that, travel with your dogs. Don't let that be like a deterrent that you feel like you can't go and do cool things because you got to take your dogs or whatever the case is.
Yeah. Wholeheartedly, RVing changed the way that we travel because we can take our dogs.
Absolutely.
So,
Absolutely.
I mean, it used to be we would have to board them whenever we would go anywhere or take a vacation. And then we started RVing and
it changed everything.
Everything.
So with that said, get out there and hit the road, and we'll see you all travelers later.
Stay motivated.
Later.
Travel on, barking at the dawn. Every mile a memory with our shepherds drawn. Fields of green we race, tails wagging so free.
Testing video, testing.
Testing microphone, testing.